I want to tell you something, and I need you to listen. Not the way you half listen while you're scrolling your phone. Really listen. Because I wasted years not listening, and I don't have the patience for it anymore. My name is Daniel Harmon. I am 67 years old. And 11 months ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table at 5 in the morning, staring at a wall, just staring at a wall. That was my life. I had done everything right. You understand? Everything they told me to do. Went to school, got the degree, built the business, 40 employees, good insurance, retirement plan, everything in its place. I did it all, but what was wrong? Margaret used to joke, "You are the most responsible man I have ever known." She meant it as a compliment, but I'm not so sure anymore, because responsible in practice looked like this. Missed dinners, canceled vacations, canceled dates. On my 50th birthday, Margaret bought me a workbench. I covered it with a canvas tarp in the corner of the garage and never touched it again. I stared at it for a long time. "For when you finally have time," she had said, with that smile of hers. "I never had time," I said. Then she was gone. 3 years ago, and suddenly everything slipped through my fingers. Nothing was left in my hands but time, and somehow that was harder. That was worse. 8 months after Margaret's death, I sold the business because time is precious and it can end at any unexpected moment. Everyone said the grief was affecting me. My brother Bill sat across from me at that diner on 5th and looked at me like I had lost my mind. "Danny, think about this. You built that company from nothing." "I know, Bill. If you walk away now, what are you going to do? Sit at home?" "Yes, Bill, that is exactly what I did. I sat at home. Every morning I opened a newspaper and read the obituaries first. I don't remember when that started. Old habit or a warning. Proof of lives running out. Column by column. Gerald Finch, 71. Retired accountant. Beloved husband. 20 words. That's all. 20 words and a photo from 15 years ago when he still had his hair. One morning I put the paper down and thought, is this it? Is this the whole story of a man? I couldn't find the answer. There was no answer. I went to the garage that day. I don't know why. My feet just took me there. I stood in front of that canvas tarp for a long time. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, you are 67 years old, Daniel. What are you going to build? A coffin? I almost covered the tarp back up, almost, but instead I picked up a piece of walnut. It was cold, heavy, real, and something happened. Something I can't fully explain. It wasn't inspiration. It wasn't a movie moment with the music swelling. It was much quieter than that. I just didn't put the wood back down. I want to be honest about what came next, because people always skip this part. I was terrible, embarrassingly terrible. I watched the same video 14 times and still got the angle wrong. I wasted wood. I made cuts I couldn't take back. A 24-year-old kid on YouTube was teaching me things I should have learned at 40. And I had to swallow every ounce of pride I had just to keep going. My neighbor Chris, young guy, 34 years old, makes his living building decks. One afternoon he came over, stood in the doorway, and watched me sand the same board for the 3rd time. "You want some help?" he asked. 6 months earlier I would have said no. I had run a company with 40 employees. I did not need help from a kid. But I looked at the board, then I looked at Chris, and I said, yes, please. That was one of the hardest things I have ever said in my life, and one of the most beautiful. It took me 4 months to build a rocking chair. 4 months? For one chair. It wasn't perfect. The left arm sat a little higher than the right. The finish on the back was uneven. A real craftsman would have seen the mistakes immediately. I carried it to the porch anyway. I sat in it. The Left arm was definitely higher. I sat in it, anyway. The sun was rising over the hill behind Margaret's garden. I still water it every morning. Out of habit, or out of love, I've decided there's no real difference between the two. I rocked forward once, back once, and I thought, I need to build another one, a better one. I know what I did wrong now. People ask me now, Daniel, don't you wish you had started sooner? And I used to say yes, of course. I lost so many years, but lately I've been thinking about that, questioned differently, because the man who covered that workbench with a tarp at 50, he wasn't ready. He was too proud, too busy being the expert of a life that was eating him alive from the inside. He would have built something and quit. The man who picked up that walnut at 67, after losing everything, after being brought all the way down to the ground, that man was ready. I'm not saying wait. I'm not saying waste your years the way I wasted mine. I'm saying it is not too late. I'm saying the 11th hour is not the last hour. I'm saying there is a crooked rocking chair on my porch that I built with my own hands, and every morning I sit in it with my coffee and look at the horizon, and I think, what else can I build? I am 92 years old now, and I never give up. Let me say that again so it lands properly. 92 years old. I have buried friends. I have buried enemies. I have buried a wife I loved more than I ever told her. I have watched men younger than me, stronger than me, smarter than me, quit, sit down, go quiet, disappear into their recliners and their regrets and their television sets. Not me, not yet. You know what people say when they find out my age. They say, Frank, you must have some secret, some special diet, some morning routine. I tell them the same thing every time. The secret is simple, and it will make you angry because it's so simple. I never stopped needing something. That's it. That's the whole secret. The men who died young, not in body, but in spirit, they stopped needing things. They got comfortable. They got safe. They said, I've done enough. I've earned my rest. And the moment you stop needing something, the moment you stop reaching for something just out of your grasp, something inside you begins to go dark, like a lamp, with no reason to stay on. I want to talk to you directly now, the one watching this. If you are 35 years old and you think you have missed your window, you haven't even opened the window yet. You are standing in a house with every door unlocked, and you are sitting on the floor crying about the one door you didn't walk through 10 years ago. Get up, if you are 50 years old and you feel the ground shifting under your feet, if you feel like the best years are behind you and the mirror is starting to show you a stranger, listen to me. You are at halftime, not the final whistle. Halftime, the score can still change. Everything can still change, but only if you walk back out onto that field. If you are 70 years old and everyone around you is slowing down, is retiring, is telling you to rest, be very careful. Rest is a slow poison when it becomes permanent. Keep one fire burning, even a small one, even just an ember, something you tend to every morning that is yours and no one else's. And if you are my age, if you are 80, 90, if you are somehow 100 years old and still reading this, then you already know everything I am saying is true. You have lived long enough to know that the regrets that cut deepest are not the things you tried and failed. They are the things you never tried at all. I built that rocking chair at 67. I built a cabinet at 68, better than the chair at 70. I started teaching woodworking to kids in my neighborhood on Saturday mornings. Teenagers, mostly. Boys who had nowhere to go and nothing to do and too much anger in their hands. I gave their hands something to do. At 75, I had a stroke. Left side, couldn't use my left hand properly for 8 months. You know what I did? I learned to work with one hand. Because what was the alternative? Sit in the armchair, cover the workbench with the tarp again. No, never again, . At 80, my doctor told me to slow down. I told him to mind his own business. He laughed. He's a good man, he said. Frank, most men your age have given up, I said. Most men my age are dead. He didn't have an answer for that. I think about Margaret every single day. Every morning when I water the garden. Every evening when the light goes soft and golden and the shadows get long. Every time I sit in that rocking chair, the original one, crooked left arm and all, I never replaced it. I think about her. She bought me that workbench for when you finally have time. I wish I had made time sooner. I won't lie to you about that. I wish I had built things with her watching, with her bringing me coffee in the garage, with her laughing at my mistakes, but I cannot go back. None of us can. The only direction that exists is forward, and forward is enough. Forward has always been enough. So here is what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not after the new year, not when the kids are grown, or the mortgage is paid, or the time is right. Today, I want you to go find the thing you covered with a tarp. You know what I mean? You have one. Everyone has one. The guitar in the closet, the half-written book in the drawer, the business idea on the napkin you folded and put in your pocket 3 years ago, the class you never signed up for, the call you never made. Go find it. Pull the tarp off. Pick it up. Feel how cold it is. Feel how heavy it is. Feel how real it is. And don't put it back down. I am 92 years old. The sun is setting on my day. I know that. I am not afraid of it. I have made my peace with the clock. But you still have sun left. Maybe a lot of it. Maybe more than you think. Don't waste it staring at the wall. Don't waste it counting down. Don't die before you're dead. Write your last letter in the comments. Tell me your name. Tell me how old you are. Tell me the thing you covered with a tarp. Tell me what you are going to do about it. Share your memories with me. I read every single one. And pray for me. I will pray for you. That is all I have to say. Get to work.